Hey, what's up, guys? I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about stat tuning and more importantly, speed tuning. So, you may or may not know that there's a degree of RNG that comes with your speeds. I'm not sure exactly what percentage it is. Some people say it's like 5% up or down. And that just, I don't know, it puts a little degree of RNG into the game. But when it comes to like speed tuning, we'll just do a Wyvern team, for example. So like, let's start with like, okay, so you need a defense breaker generally when you're running Wyvern 11, right? So, okay, I have a Terranor guard here. He's at 160 speed. So ideally you're going to be wanting your defense breaker to go first, right? That way your DPS can follow up on the defense break and maximize their damage. So in order to safely follow up on Terranor guard, like ideally you want a unit with about 10 less speed. So like if you're running Luna, Karen, Sigrid, anything like that, you would want them around 150. Thing is about plus 10, like you can still get RNG'd. Like if my Terranor guard here gets lowballed on speed and my DPS gets highballed, then my DPS can still go before Terranor guard. So I think that like the sweet spot is around 12 to 13 speed to guarantee that you always will go first with a certain unit. And also that's very important for like PvP. Like if you're, for example, a Charles, you want a Charles to go before some kind of AoEer or some kind of damage dealer to grant them attack buff. You want to speed tune that so that happens. Same thing like if you're running like old school, wow, can't believe I'm saying Araminta's old school, but you know, like a strip into Araminta or a strip into anything really, then you want to do the same there. You want about 12, 13 more speed on whatever unit going first. Like right now, that case would be Bassar into, whatever, like if you're defense breaking with Tywin or ML Zerato or, into your defense breaker, and then you have whatever else in your team comp, like that sweet spot is about plus 10, plus 11 speed. So like the way my Wyvern team is set up right now, like I don't really care. I kill it no matter what, but like in entry levels, when you're first getting into Wyvern and you don't have gear, like it's very important. I don't want to leak stats of some of my units here, but Sigrid's like whatever. Like, so my Sigrid's also at 160. I just threw random gear on her. But if I was to speed tune her better to follow up on my Terranor guard, I would want to drop her to about 149, 148, for example. So she's on attack boots right now. She's just like her gear isn't speed tuned like perfectly, but I guess with the equipment manager here, I can just kind of show. So if I was going to build excuse me, like speed tune her straight to 149, like you can pretty much get that with just boots, right? So if she had no gear on, you can speed tune to about, the mid 100s with just speed boots. So like if I were just to throw, let's just do these ones, for example. So with the speed set on, like she's still got speed subs here. So if I were to find like all other gear, let's just throw on all random gear that has no speed subs. So we'll see what the speed falls at. This has no speed. That has no speed. See, she's at 159 now. That has no speed. Then a ring with no speed. That has no speed. Yeah, see, that brought her right down to 149. That wasn't intentional. I didn't know that was going to happen. But see, that's very good speed tuning to follow up on that Terranor guard. You know what I mean? Ideally, you would want to go a little bit lower because I think you can still get RNG'd at 11 difference. It's not very likely that it'll happen. 11's pretty safe. 10's pretty safe. I wouldn't like 7 and up from there. Like most, like it's probably about 60 to 70% of the time. Like it'll go in that order, but there's that 30 to 40% chance that they'll get swapped and that that turn order will get screwed up. And when it comes to like PvP, that can really hurt your like on your defense. If you're trying to do a specific thing with your defense, you need to make sure that your units are tuned correctly. Otherwise, like if they go in a different order than what you're intending to do, then your team isn't going to do what you want it to do, and you're just that much more likely to lose. Defense isn't in a great spot right now anyways, but that's basically what it is. Like, I could show you my defense and not give specific stats. It's doing pretty well right now. This is my second attempt at recording this video because I was doing some auto arena while I was just trying to showcase the team I was autoing. And yeah, I kind of got soloed by an MLkin, and I got hit by somebody. I got soloed by an MLkin this first team, and then this next team right here, freaking Arbiter Villager dual attacked into my Dizzy, and she died. So this is like... oh yeah, I was just going to show my defense. Lost my train of thought there for a sec. So I'll just kind of tell you the strat behind my defense. I'm keeping it above 30% win rate in Champion, which is about where I was before when I was using Crimson Armin and Sage Bale, like before they got nerfed. So this is my defense. Ideally, you know, Fallen Cecilia is going to be fast. I want her to go relatively quick. I'm not going to give you specific speed, but I want her to go first to get the skill null up. And then I kind of want Crimson Armin to go around the same time. Whether she goes first or goes second doesn't really matter. But, you know, both, I want to get all those buffs up immediately. So, like, if they were to go in between with, like, a slower Dizzy or something like that, generally, like, I'm always going to get outsped anyways. Like, if you're looking to outspeed something, like, the threshold is, like, 250, at least where I'm at. Like, you need to get 250, 260. To guarantee outspeeding, you want to be, like, mid-260s. I think at this point in the game, 270. And yeah, I know people with units above 270, so it's doable now. Like, people have gear that's that good. So if you're trying to go first, like unless you're reaching those thresholds, at least in the Champion PvP, like Challenger, the threshold's probably a little lower, probably about 240. There's really no point in trying to build a unit that fast, unless you're trying to turn cycle it and it's still relatively tanky, like a Dizzy or something. But it's okay to sacrifice speed. I'm telling you that. It's okay to sacrifice speed for other stats. Like, the meta has changed, and I've kind of felt out how the meta is now. Speed isn't everything anymore. Your defense is going to lose if you just try to outspeed everybody that attacks you most of the time. Unless you're reaching thresholds of, like, insanity. Like, your gear is pushing you to 260 speed on a Bazaar or something. Then that's when you would opt to go that route. But if you're not hitting that, then 200, 210... 220 and below is fine, usually, depending on what unit you're using. Like, for Fallen Cecilia, like going above, you know, 210, 215, like going higher than that and sacrificing tankiness is not really worth it anymore. I don't even know if it was worth it before I just traded for her. So, but ideally my team is like, my Charles and my Bologna are slower, with a bit of bulk, obviously. If they're built slower, the trade-off for speed is tankiness and damage, right? So to get high thresholds of speed, you're going to sacrifice tankiness and damage, because the higher your speed is, the more rolls you're getting into speed, the less you're getting into the other stats. But reaching a lower threshold of speed around 160 or so, 150, 160, 170, like, you get the majority of that from boots and then just a few speed subs, and then you get the rest of those rolls into those damage stats, into those tank stats. So I think that's kind of like the sweet spot for at least arena defense right now, and some Guild War defenses. Building really fast only works if you have the gear, like I said. So I think it's better to build bulk and then speed tune your team properly. So ideally here, like, I expect the enemy team to go first. Everyone's using cleaves, everyone's using fucking, you know, Ice Area Tam and shit. Like, Ice Area Tam generally isn't built super fast, but that's what Elbrus is for. Elbrus is really good for stopping Ice Area Tam sometimes. Or, you know, just RNG mechanics in general. Why did it go all the way out? So with that being said, like, the way my team is set up here, see, I stopped a nice area tam with Jay Kisa here. I don't know why there's an Aramintha on that team, but like, okay. Another ice area tam cleave. It's because I have that bulkiness on my units. A Jay Kisa Oxlots cleave. It's because I have the bulk on my units. I bet that took that guy a while to beat me. And then here, like D-Corvus, obviously. I don't get the Bologna here. Maybe because he saw all my water units, I guess. But it's another cleave that failed. Down here, it's a double cleave team. Double cleave teams will probably have a higher success rate against those bulkier teams because you have a follow-up. But if they're running a single cleave, usually my defense will stop them. Unless there's the defense breaker there as well. So that's kind of how I set up my team. Ideally, you know, Charles is about 11, 12 speed faster than my SS Bologna because I want her to go with her S3 with an attack buff. Right? And I have them tuned to where, like, I know most of the enemy team is going to go first, right? So if they have immunity, like, it really depends. Like, if a Jkise cleaves me, my SS Bologna is going to get 4 stacks, right? Just 4, because she's not speed tuned to go first. You know, in my rotation. So she's just going to get 4. She's not going to counter. So she's not going to counter while Jkise or whoever has that immunity, right? And so the immunity is going to fall off. And then they're going to follow up with whatever, or I'm going to go, and then their next turn, and then generally, unless they bring immunity on their team with them or something that applies immunity, then they have no immunity. Then my SS Bologna counters, right? Defense breaks everybody, and then my Charles and my SS Bologna go for, you know, big dick damage. That's how I set up my team. That's how a lot of people are using Bologna and Charles in conjunction, like in Guild War and stuff. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. Like, you can throw counter sets on there too for a bit more RNG and whatever. But the point of this video is, you know, just tuning your stats for what you want to do. Like, that's what I want to do. So I made my stats make that happen. Make sense? It's the same for PvE. It's the same for everything. Like cleansers and stuff, like Montmos, like stuff that you want to get a lot of turns, you build more speed. You have to sacrifice tankiness. You have to sacrifice damage. That's just the trade-off, you know? There's units that just want speed and that's it, like Oxlots. But then there's those units that want everything. You know, Assassin Collie wants damage. She wants a lot of speed, so she's very hard to build. That's when you need those optimized gear pieces. If you really want to take advantage of those stat-hungry units, like, just for examples, I'll go through mine. Like, some units are very stat-hungry in comparison to others. Luna is a unit that's not very stat-hungry, for example. So I'll literally just go through all my 6 stars. Like, Seaside Bologna, it depends on how high level your drink is. That depends on how stat hungry she is. If you have a higher level drink, she's not as stat hungry. Like, if you were to use otherworldly machinery, she's going to require more stats. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that because, like, I have somewhat of a following, and, like, I'm in a competitive guild, so don't like to share, like there's some stuff I'm just not going to share. You know, I'm sorry, guys. That's just the way it is. MLkin, I wouldn't say, like, he's kind of stripped right now. He's not very stat hungry because he doesn't need crit, but he needs pretty much everything else. He doesn't need crit, doesn't need speed, but he needs everything else, you know? Destina, pretty stat hungry, I would say. Depends on how you build her. You can build her slower on counter, really bulky, or you can build her faster to turn cycle her more. You know, it just really depends. F Cecilia, people think she's stat hungry, but I think Bruiser Cecilia is garbage. She doesn't do enough damage unless she actually hits a defense break, I think. It's better to just take advantage of her barrier and give her as much HP as possible. That's my opinion. Dizzy's not very stat hungry. You know, you build her fast with high effectiveness, or you build her bulky with a decent amount of effectiveness on counter. You know, there's really just nothing. There's no, like, Biken is a very stat hungry unit, I think, because she's one of those units that you want fast with a lot of damage. She wants effectiveness. She wants crit damage. She wants attack. You know, she needs all those stats. But like I said, to build a fast unit, you have to sacrifice other stats. So that's when you look for those optimized gear pieces, and those are your pieces that have attack, crit damage, speed subs. Good luck finding those for 85 red pieces or 88 pieces on the correct set. Just good luck. Like, it's hard to find shit like that. But yeah, I'm not going to go through every single unit. Violet, he's not as stat hungry. You don't need him stupid fast like you would need Assassin Coley, like you would need Baiken. You know, you want him to get his S2 off. So you want some degree of speed on him, but like he's just your typical damage user. You don't really need defense because he has dodge mechanics and his base defense is shit. You want a decent amount of health, but you don't need a fuck ton of health. You know, just a decent amount of health, but you want to make sure you're doing good damage with him. So you want that crit damage. You want a decent amount of, you want, you know, the crit threshold is around 80%. Because you figure you put a unit on your team because you want it to target a certain thing, right? You want to protect a certain unit, like in Guild War. So like he's a threat to a water unit, so you get free 15% crit anyways, right? Of course, they can bring a different team into you, but if you have good elemental coverage on your team, and there's a good chance your Violet will be focusing a water unit, whether it be a Crow, a Montmorency, or whatever. Like if he's paired with Dizzy, obviously they want to bring a Montmorency. Then Montmorency is there to cleanse Dizzy's debuffs, and Violet is there to threaten that Montmorency, so he gets free crit. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense, and I explained it in a way that people can understand. Like, you don't need 100% crit pretty much on any DPS unless it's a Sez and you're Sez cleaving with them. Like, cleave units you kind of want, like if you're cleaving, you kind of want 100%. There's no, you don't want room for error there, you know, when you're cleaving something. And then same goes for like one-shot units, Watcher Shuri, you know, stuff that ignores defense. Possibly Sermia, Luna, you know, stuff that has that one-shot damage potential, and you're using it on offense, those are units you want 100% on. Because you're not always going to hit that certain element, you know. But on defense, you don't need that threshold. Does that make sense? I guess with Luna S3, that doesn't really matter. She gets 15% no matter who she attacks, because it's always the bonus element. But I'm not going to go too much deep into that. I kind of just like, some units are more stat hungry than others. That's really just the point I was trying to make. And really, like, you should build, like, one tip I want to give, look at your gear before you build a unit. Don't like perfect example, Lilius is about to come out. If you don't have gear for Lilius, like, sure, you can pull her, but if you're not even clearing Wyvern 11 or whatever, then you should probably focus on building something that's going to help you do that. Then you can properly gear that unit, because you don't want to like I have a bad habit. Like, look, if you, like, for right now, I can show you, like, I have 5 stars out the ass down here that I want to build, but bottom line is, like, unless I take the gear from somebody that I use, I can't gear that unit. So, just as an example, there's tons of units down here that I want to build. And there's some that are up here too that I already want to build as well. Like, I want to build a Furious, I want to build Wanderer Silk, I want to build Ludwig, I want to build Luluka. I have one up there at level 50 already. Like, I want to rebuild Sez, I wouldn't mind trying out Ravi. You know, there's just tons of things, but you need the gear. You should play off your gear, not your units. If that makes sense. And that's just a tip I kind of want to throw out. But that's just going to conclude this video. Hopefully I helped out somebody. This is kind of more catered to maybe newer players, maybe more intermediate players, or maybe like some late game players I might have put some ideas in their head too. You know, sometimes I watch a video and I'm like, fuck, I didn't even think of that, you know? And it's just nice to have, you know, a nice group of content creators out there that all cover different things. I watch several of them just because a lot of them give me ideas that, you know, it's not, you know, I think I have a very good, you know, knowledge base of the game, but there's still stuff that I don't think about, you know, and I think that's the case for a lot of people. So that was my goal of this video. Hopefully I accomplished that. Leave a like if you enjoyed. I really appreciate it. It's nice seeing those likes go up to like above 200. I want to set a like goal. I haven't done this yet. I don't know how popular this video is going to be. I want to see if I can hit 300 likes on the video, because I haven't done it yet, I don't think. I might have. I don't remember actually doing it. But if I can, that would be sweet. If we don't, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to get sad. You know, I'm just curious. But drop a comment. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to get back to you. I'm pretty busy, as you guys know. But have a good one. Later.